and certified intuitive eating coach. And I have been working in the field of nutrition and fitness for about 30 years now. And one of my favorite things to do is help people become more physically active and help them improve their fitness, because it is such an important part of health. So I would like to first say I don't have any disclosures, which is good. So let's talk about physical activity and fitness. First of all, when I ask my clients, why should we exercise? Why should we do this? Most people reply with something like, well, it helps me lose weight, or if I want to lose weight, I need to be active. And while that may or may not be true, I think that there are far more benefits to physical activity than just weight control. And I'd like us to kind of focus on those for a little bit. So think about if you are physically active right now, or if you have been in the past, how do you usually feel, or what are some of the benefits you get? And what most people report, and studies have shown this, that people who are physically active on a regular basis tend to have more energy during the day. And you may have noticed that if you've been sitting all day long, you're usually really tired. Sitting tends to make us tired, whereas activity tends to make us more energetic in general, okay? People who are physically active tend to have better sleep. They tend to be less depressed and have a better mood. Most of the time, there's always exceptions to this. People who are physically active report being able to think more clearly and to be more creative, actually. But one thing that a lot of people talk a lot about is when they're physically active, they find that they're able to do the things that they want to do. Like if they want to go hiking, or they want to play basketball with their neighbor, or they want to play with their kids or grandkids, or they want to play a game of tennis, or run a 5K or anything like that. When they've been active and become fit, they're able to do those things. So that usually comes out as one of the most important things of physical activity. Also, another thing is having better control of blood sugar, blood pressure. Sometimes it helps to lower cholesterol levels and just better metabolic control. And I would like to say that this happens regardless of whether weight loss occurs or not. It's just a benefit of physical activity. But the one benefit I want to spend a little bit of time talking about today is improved fitness. And I find there's a lot of misconceptions about the word fitness. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. When I talk about fitness, I'm mainly referring to what's called cardiorespiratory fitness, or CRF. I'll just call it CRF. And there's been a lot of studies about CRF with some pretty cool information that I think a lot of people haven't heard. First of all, CRF, or a low CRF level, having a low level of fitness, is what is now referred to as an independent risk factor for heart disease and other health conditions. So the typical risk factors of for heart disease are smoking, high blood pressure, family history, high cholesterol. Those are all what we call risk factors. But a lot of times, fitness isn't really mentioned because it's kind of tied to weight control. But what studies have shown is that a low fitness level, regardless if you're thin, normal weight, or overweight, or obese, is an independent risk factor. So it's a risk factor just by itself, a low fitness level. And the reverse is true, so that a high fitness level means that you're at a lower risk for heart disease. Number two, a low CRF is a stronger predictor of heart disease than BMI, or body mass index. And I think that comes as a surprise to people. Again, many clients that I work with believe that they have to lose weight in order to be healthy, or they have to lose weight in order to be fit. And that is just not true. You can be fit at a wide range of weights or sizes and shapes. And regardless of what your size or shape or weight is, your cardiorespiratory fitness level is the indicator of your risk for heart disease. So I hope that makes sense. Number 3, a high fitness level. And again, this doesn't mean like an elite athlete. This just means that that you're able to complete a treadmill test or a fitness test without too much trouble. And that usually is a result of regular physical activity. But a high fitness level can be protective against diabetes and some forms of cancer. So it's not just heart disease, it's many, many other conditions as well. So your actual CRF level is important. And there's various ways to measure that, which I will give you some resources on at the end of this talk. But just know that it's not, that exercise isn't good just for weight loss or just how it affects other things. It's important in and of itself and how it affects your CRF. So that always brings up the question, well, if that's the case, how can I improve my CRF level? How can I become more fit, basically? Well, the good news is you don't have to go out and run a marathon to improve your fitness. It really doesn't take that much to improve your fitness level. And people who go from sedentary to becoming physically active on a regular basis get the most bang for their buck. So people who are already fit, like, the runners, those people who are out, doing exercise all the time, if they were to increase their exercise amount, they might increase their fitness level a little bit, but they're already fit. So people who are sedentary, or couch potatoes, like we like to say, and then they go from that level of activity, which is zero, almost zero, to a higher level, will get a big, big return in health benefits. And it's well worth doing small amounts. If you're going from nothing, it's well worth doing something. The Institute of Medicine came out with some recommendations on how much to aim for the health benefits. And they have said that adults should do at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity physical activity. So you could use that as your guideline, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity physical activity, or some kind of combination of both. But if you're starting from scratch, let's say you're not getting any physical activity at all right now, other than just, going from house to car to work and back, maybe start keeping track of the minutes that you engage in some type of moderate intensity physical activity, and see if you can work up to 150 per week. Now, the American College of Sports Medicine has recommended 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity on most days of the week. So that's another way you can do it, is aim for 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity on most days of the week. And one more thing I'd like to point out about these recommendations that I think is really, really good news is that those minutes can be accumulative over the day. You don't have to go out and get 30 minutes all at once. It can be 2 15-minute bouts of physical activity, or it could be 3 10-minute bouts of physical activity in one day. And I think that's really helpful for people to know, because really busy people, who are working full time, they've got families, and they've got lots going on. Sometimes it's hard to find 30 minutes in a day to be physically active, not counting the time it takes to get ready to go get physically active. So what you can do is break it up. You could do 3 10-minute bouts of walking per day, 1 in the morning, 1 on your lunch hour, 1 after work. Or you could break it into 2 15-minute bouts, 1 in the morning, 1 after work, whatever works for you. But you will get the same fitness benefits by breaking it up as you will by doing a full 30 minutes at one time. And I don't think most people know that. So one thing I do with my clients is we sit down and we look at their day. We look at their 24 hours and find when we can fit in 2 15-minute bouts of activity. And 9 times out of 10, we can find those 2 15-minute segments of time. And sometimes it takes a little bit of troubleshooting, looking at your day and, maybe shuffling a few things around. But if you think about what you get out of those 2 15-minute bouts of physical activity in terms of health and longevity, it's a no-brainer to me. It's the best health insurance you can get is being physically active on a regular basis. So let's talk about some tips on how to get started. If you're sedentary, it can seem overwhelming to think about exercising or getting fit. And unfortunately, a lot of commercials and programs out there kind of give that impression that you have to have the 6-pack abs or run the marathon, like I was saying, or you have to, do the 50 burpees or something like that to become fit. And that's just not the case at all. So to make it easy, what I would suggest, and this is what some of the research is showing that helps people, number one is to set very small attainable goals. If you're not doing any activity right now, then instead of saying, I'm going to run a marathon, say, well, I'm going to walk to, pick a point that's near you that is reasonable for you. I'm going to do that 3 days a week. Or I'm going to play basketball with my kids for 10 minutes each day. Or I'm going to spend some time in the garden and do yard work for 30 minutes. Whatever works for you. But make the goals very small in the beginning and attainable, so that you feel like when you accomplish those goals, you feel like you have done something. And then over time, you can push those goals a little bit to be, going a little bit farther or walking a little bit longer or whatever, something along those lines. Number 2, this one is really important. And it's something I think needs to be talked about more. When you want to make any kind of lifestyle change, I think one of the most important things to do is ask for support from friends, family, coworkers, bosses, physicians. Tell these people that are in your life that you want to make this change and you would appreciate having their support. You could say things like to your spouse, I really want to be more physically active. Would you mind if I went for a walk before I did the dishes? Or I really want to be more physically active. Would you mind if I signed up for this class? I really would like your support. You can say to your physician, I know that I really need to lose weight, but right now I just want to work on being physically active. So would you support me in walking, trying to walk, 5 miles in a week? Whatever your goal is, but ask for support. And the people around you, your family, your friends, coworkers, physicians, whoever it is, if they know what you're working on, they're far more likely to give you some support and encouragement, and maybe understand that you're going to miss a meeting so that you can get your walk in, or you're going to do the meeting while you're on your phone as you walk, whatever it takes, but do ask for support. Number 3 is kind of a no-brainer, but I'm surprised at how many people I've worked with who have very uncomfortable shoes or inappropriate shoes for working out. It doesn't have to be expensive, but buy comfortable clothing and shoes, things that fit you well, that feel comfortable. And if you have comfortable clothing and shoes, you're way more likely to go out the door as soon as you get a chance, to go for a walk or to work out. If you have clothes that you like, that feel good, and the shoes are comfortable. Shoes are really important. And by the way, running shoes make really good walking shoes. Number 4, troubleshoot whatever your personal barriers are. Sit down and think about it. What is keeping me from being physically active? What is getting in my way? Most people say time, lack of time. But maybe it's a perceived lack of time. I don't know. maybe sit down and talk to a health professional and have them brainstorm ideas with you on how to overcome the barriers that you have. The time issue, telling you that 2 15-minute bouts is as good as 1 30-minute bout. Maybe that will help you find the time to be physically active. For some women that I've worked with, it's the clothing issue, is they can't find comfortable clothing for them to work out in. So write down what these barriers are and try to brainstorm ways to overcome those barriers. This is something that I do with my clients, because I find that when they are able to overcome their personal barriers, you know, they're much more likely to reach the goals that they have set. The last one is buddy up. If you have a friend that is waiting for you at the park to walk at 6 a.m., you're more likely to get out of bed in the morning if you know that friend is waiting for you, right? Maybe not, but most people are. Most people find that if they have a friend, this is true for both men and women, if they have a friend or somebody to go do whatever activity it is that they enjoy doing, they're far more likely to do it than just by doing it alone. So you know, ask your friends or family members or coworkers, find somebody that can go walk with you before work or after work or on your lunch hour. Find somebody to sign up for a 5K and train with you. There's a lot of 5K couch to 5K training programs out there. Let's say you want to swim, you know, sign up for a master's class with a friend or meet somebody there. But it really helps to have other people to do this with, and you're more likely to stick with it. I'll also mention, if you start off by yourself and you join, you know, a hiking club or a gardening club or a dance class, it's also a great way to meet people. So being physically active is one of the best ways to get outside and meet people if you're wanting to try to make more friends or find a significant other. So some resources for helping you. The American Heart Association, heart.org, has a wonderful section on physical activity, and they have other tips on how to get started and also how to maintain your motivation. And they have lots of information about how physical activity is good for the heart. American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM.org, also has a lot of information about physical activity and fitness. And they have been some of the leaders in the field about cardiorespiratory fitness being important and possibly more important than some other risk factors. My website is the last one there. It's my business is My Body, My Life, Nutrition and Fitness, and I have some free resources there as well as some blog articles, and occasionally I run fitness challenges and things like that. So if you want to check that out, that would be great. My email address is on that website, so if you have questions, feel free to send me any questions anytime. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you can get off the couch, off the scale, and out the door. Thanks.